three. Good.
Step back try.
That's a good shot for three.
Stepping through off the window, good.
Stepping through the raindrops and the finish on the right hand.
And everything's going the Boomers' way with back-to-back threes. The Boomers, a WNBL chance.
Round 7 of the Cygnett WNBL continues here for your Thursday night hoops at the State Basketball Centre as the Melbourne Boomers host the Adelaide Lightning for the second time in a week. Liam Ellison here alongside me is world champion and Olympian Jenny Screen. Jenny, welcome. These two teams meet again.
Well, they do indeed, and just in time for Christmas, and hopefully it is a nice Christmas gift to Adelaide. They can get a win and get that little bit closer to the top four, because there is definitely a gap emerging between the top four and the bottom four of the Cygnett WNBL this season.
There is. They're sitting in 5th place at the moment with a 3-5 record. Really need to win today to stay in touch with the top four, like you mentioned. On the flip side, the Boomers with a 7-1 record. Just a half game behind the Spirit in first place. They're winners of their last 6 in a row, Jenny.
Yeah, they've been pretty spectacular. You know, got a great coach and assistant with Chris and Christy Harrow leading the way. And they've just got vets. They're full of vets. And I think they've got some of the best young talent in Australia signed in that purple uniform. And Mila Goodchild on screen there is one of them. She had a standout game last time against the Adelaide Lightning, and she'll be looking to have another one tonight.
Did she ever? 5 of 5 from deep in her first ever start in the Cygnett WNBL. There's the ladder on your screen. Boomers right in the thick of it up the top. Lightning won't want to lose touch with the Flyers in 4th place as well. Of course, as we mentioned off the top, these two teams met on Sunday at the Adelaide 36ers Arena, a 25-point margin to the Boomers.
It was indeed. It was a bit of a smacking, but let's not forget when they met earlier on in the season in November, it was a 4-point ball game, and it was a really tight contest and a great display, but Kayla George was phenomenal. Pretty much all the starting 5 for Melbourne Boomers. They don't go deep. Chris doesn't rotate much. All starting 5 pretty much played 30-plus minutes in the contest against Adelaide in their last meet-up. And then obviously Adelaide, they're still finding their feet. They've got some great young talent as well. They've got some great imports. And obviously Natty Hurst is also, you know, sussing out in terms of her space as a head coach in the WNBL.
There's the Boomers lineup on your screen and a couple of big omissions once again for Melbourne.
There is indeed. Obviously, they've got Tess Madgen out. Tiffany Mitchell, you see there on screen, still out with that wrist injury. We'll get a little bit of an input or update about that, and hopefully she's okay. But, hey, it's next person or player up mentality for them. Goodchild was great. You've also got Patch off the bench, Panina Davison, Brewster. She's been having some great minutes as well, and then the youngsters rounded out for them.
Scary stuff. No Madgen, no Mitchell. They're still flying at the moment, the Melbourne Boomers. Lily Scanlon and Lou Brown as well are out today. Here's the Adelaide lineup as well, and they've got a change. Chelsea Brooke will replace Marina Whittle in the starting 5, Jenny.
Yeah, interesting in terms of how these girls are going. Make no mistake about it, they're a good team. Like most of their losses, they've been 10 points or under in terms of those losses next to their name, and their wins have been pretty good. So they're around the mark. They've just got to click a little bit better. I've loved the input from Borlase. I think she could have a little bit more punch and impact. She only played the 18 minutes the last time they met. Brooke, she's been around in this league for a while, only played for Adelaide, but had some great NBL 1 seasons up north. So look for her to have an impact. She can shoot the 3. And then Steph Talbot, she pretty much carries this team, but I'm also looking forward to the point guard contest with Mansfield and Wallace as well.
Absolutely. 2 players in the top 5 in the league for assists per game. The Lightning have had 7 of their first 9 games against top 4 opposition.
Yeah, they have indeed, and that's interesting with Melbourne as well. They're on a 6-game winning streak, but a lot of them are coming against teams that are lower than them. The only loss that they've had is against the Southside Flyers, who they are around the mark, and they will play them in their next game. So Adelaide, to their credit, they haven't done too bad. If they can just start to string some wins together, that'll get their confidence going, and then gives them hopefully some positivity going into the back end of the season and pushing and maybe shaping that top 4.
Lightning have seen this venue already once this season on opening night for them against the Southside Flyers. They fell by 8 points in that ball game. Referees today, Daniel Batye, Brad Henshaw and Bianca Vernon, as the Boomers starters as well enter the floor. Here we go. Not far away now. The Boomers and the Lightning, Olivia Nelson-Adota and Munro once again will contest the tip in your Thursday night hoops. coming up in just a moment. Two of the highest scoring teams in the league. Melbourne know how to score. And another big crowd in attendance here at the State Basketball Centre. As we wait for the go-ahead. Nat Hurst and Chris Lucas, the master and the protege, once again will go head-to-head. Second time in 5 days. And the Boomers win it away straight to Wallace. How's that for a start?
That is when you got Nelson Adota jumping in a jump ball contest. Beautiful length she has, but that was just a poor setup in the jump ball from the Adelaide Lightning, but a great start for the Boomers.
Olivia Nelson Adota, as well as working away into the season, set a season high for the second week in a row with 20 against Adelaide. As that one goes out of bounds.
Yeah, Adota has been sensational. Obviously, her first season pro from UConn. You know, her last 5 games, she's averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. She's a great rim protector, can change shots on penetrations, and really good at her screening mechanics, reads the ball really well. She's growing, shall we say, in the WNBL 23.
Murray tried to get it to Nelson Adota. Kirsten Bell. Talbot just miscommunicated. Boomers with a stop. Mia Murray thought about the triple. Nelson Adota wants to take Munro off the dribble. Personal foul.
Both teams just sussing each other out. A couple of turnovers to start the first minute of this contest. They know what's on the line here. In the first game, Adelaide had actually 25 points off turnovers, so Melbourne Boomers will want to protect the rock the best they can in this contest.
Murray in the corner. Triple goes down for Melbourne.
Mate, talk about a resurgence of a veteran in the WNBL. She obviously loves playing with Chris Lucas. You know, we know she spent a lot of time in Townsville. She obviously is Adelaide native as well, but her and her brother, who also plays for Melbourne United and racked up his 300th game in the NBL last round, they're both loving being in Melbourne.
16-year WNBL veteran is Mia Murray. She's thriving down here as Nelson Adota in the key way. Mansfield. The Lightning searching for their first points of the contest. Talbot drives past George. There it is.
And Talbot's going to have a big one tonight as we see a nice, beautiful bucket in transition there from Nelson Adota running the floor. Lane runner, rim to rim, simple basketball, but Steph Talbot, game 1, she had 23 points, 4 rebounds. A little bit quiet in the last one that they played 5 days ago, but a lot will rest on her shoulders tonight.
Munro tried to follow her own miss and infringed Wallace on the way through. So Melbourne ball. Good start for them. And you mentioned turnovers, Jenny. Last time they were in this venue, Melbourne, 29 against the Townsville Fire.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they came away with the win too. I don't know the stats in the history books of WML, but I'm saying I'd put money on it. There wouldn't be many teams that would have that many turnovers and come away with a win, and I'm sure Shannon Seaborn wouldn't have been happy with not getting that one, but hey, they must have done something right on the stat sheet.
Wallace from the elbow, short. She was money from that range last week. Mansfield probing on the perimeter. Now down low to Talbot. Has the mismatch, takes advantage.
And that's just smart right there. A nice little flash card. Know that she's got the smaller and obviously the junior good child on her, and just a nice little easy post up and 2.
George backs it out to Murray. Murray cutting, mid-range J, goes.
The 2 vets getting it done. If it's not Murray, it's George. She's doing really well in terms of the assist category. Well, she's on triple-double watch 5 days ago, as we see a kind of a errant foul there from the one of the leaders of the Melbourne Boomers. But she had 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists for the Melbourne Boomers 5 days ago. She's such a tough person to guard. For me, she's the MVP of the league right now in the terms of the numbers she's putting out and the consistency at which she's doing it as well.
Averaging career best rebounding numbers now, just under 12 a game. That leads the league, Kayla George. And 5 dimes as well, a career high. As Bell takes care of that from the line. Play stopped. So Kayla George, I mean, averaging just 16 points per game since the 2014-15 championship was the Townsville Fire when she played there. That was the last time she averaged those numbers, Jenny.
It is, but she also played for Chris Lucas under there, so they've obviously got a relationship. He knows the style that she likes to play, where to get her the ball, and what gets her going, really. So obviously Mia Murray's another one as well, and Christy Wallace has played under Chris Lucas at the World Uni Games, and she thrived under him as the captain there for that team with Darcy Garvin. So a lot of these girls know what Chris Lucas is about, and they're really obviously enjoying playing for him again.
Bodes well as the 3-ball goes down there for the Lightning. Ella Badish off the pine.
Well, that's what she can do, and that's what Adelaide have to do, is get great shots, because they don't want to be punished in the transition for taking bad shots by the Melbourne Boomers, who are prolific at running the floor.
Turnover, Mansfield. Plenty of Boomers back in defence. Badish diving to the rim. Talbot around the Brook pick, pulls up from long range, and George cleans it up. Lightning now with a 7-2 run of their own. Murray for 3.
Boy, oh boy. Mia Murray with 8 points in the opening quarter of the 14 that the Boomers have. She is just making a mockery of them right now, and most of the points have come in transition for Mia Murray.
She's been shooting highly efficiently all season long as Talbot will go to the line.
Efficiently has been the Melbourne Boomers thus far this season. They're shooting at a prolific clip in terms of from the three-point line for the season. 46%. Now, if you're a head coach of any WNBL team, you'd be happy with around the 37, 38% to be shooting at 46 across the board. And most of those girls, and Neely Goodchild, she was 5 of 5 against Adelaide in the last round, but you'd be happy with 46%. The question is, can they keep it up as the season goes on?
A remarkable clip through 8 games. That's for sure. They've got 6 players shooting above 40% from the field. 4 above 50. George. Down low to Murray. Foul call. No, travel. Adelaide ball. Tiff Mitchell leading the league as well in three-point percentage with 56 for players who've taken 10 or more attempts. What a uniform today. Mansfield pulls up from the elbow, a little off. Fighting hard though was Talbot. Wallace gambled for the steal. Bell. Extra pass out to Mansfield. Got a shooter in the corner. Goes up for Badish. Second triple for her.
Talk about a great shooting clip from both teams. Nice job and poise there from Adelaide. Great second efforts there by their captain, Steph Talbot, to get them a second possession and a shot, which Badish drained.
George just rims out. Adelaide have tied it up here halfway through the first. Lauren Mansfield gets the screen from Brooke and goes to the rack. Adelaide with their first lead. George moving it quickly. Davidson said to check in. Here's Nelson Adota. Wants movement from her point guard. Wallace steps into a 3. Talbot. Bell leading this team in scoring so far this season. Talbot for 3.
Nice little jab step. I thought she was going to hesitate and pull out of shooting the 3, and then she just saw Kayla George just back, expecting her to penetrate, and just went, nah, I'll knock it down on you, my fellow Opal sister.
Good few minutes for the Lightning. Murray to respond. Won't go. Talbot running downhill. Now 5-point leaders. Badish. Extra pass. Brooke. Bell steps into a 3 of her own, and Melbourne will clean it up. Wallace eventually got around Brooke. Down low. George at the low block. Inside the painted area. Goes up on her left. Great stop from Talbot. Moves it over via Brooke. Bell just straight down the lane. Timeout. Chris Lucas will have to chat things over. The Lightning lead by 7, Jenny Screen.
Great second half of this first quarter for the Adelaide Lightning. It was a 9-2 to run to start the game from tip-off As you can see, the Adelaide girls from the bench getting around the girls that are on at the moment. Then they've gone on this little run and they've pretty much taken a leaf out of Melbourne Boomers' book. They've rebounded really well, caused some turnovers, and then pushed the ball with pace in transition and had some great open looks, and they've been able to find the bottom of the net early.
Well, this timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. If you're considering travelling interstate for your basketball team for the various tournaments coming up over the summer, CTM Sport is a competitive and customised travel solution that puts your team on top. Visit ctmsport.com.au to learn more. And for the Adelaide Lightning, Jenny, I mean, this is the start they wanted. They managed just 9 points last Sunday in the third quarter. They were outscored 44-24 in the second half. They've come out firing here.
They have indeed, and they really need to, because obviously the pedigree and the talent and you know, the experience that the Boomers have, they need to stay within distance with them, and I think they can stay with the Boomers. They can push. You can see Izzy Borlase is coming to line up now as well, so she'll have an impact off the bench. She has been doing that all season. We know in game 1 when she played, that was pretty much her breakout game in the Cygnett WNBL. She had 17 points in that one and 4 rebounds to go with it. And Marina Whittle didn't start in this lineup tonight, but no doubt that she will have an impact as well as this game goes on.
Adelaide going to some of their strong bench unit here. They lead the league in bench points. Borlase is a big reason why. Wallace tried to drive on Talbot. Turnover. Move it quickly to Badish. Needs a cutter. Finds Whittle. Good defense, Murray. Borlase. Now Talbot for 3.
And she earned that 3 by the defense that she did down the other end against Wallace. She's got a task tonight. She's matching up against Christy Wallace. I think she's done exceptionally well in this opening quarter. At times, Wally can be a little bit erratic and not look after the ball. And Steph Talbot's just got her number at the moment.
Downloaded George. Won't go off the window. Borlase turns and goes. Needs some assistance. Finds Talbot to her right. And Talbot's on fire here in the first.
Well, Boomers have to stem the bleeding, and it's got to start on the defensive end. There's just a lack of intent and detail. Too many open shots, too many easy penetrations. That's not the Boomers that we know, and the team that is on a 6-game winning streak.
So Steph Talbot now, 12 points in the ball game, 5 rebounds. 4 of 5 from the field. Sees the visitors up by 11. Good child. Back to Wallace. Davidson rolling to the rim inside the paints. That's good.
And that's what Penina Davison can give you, that punch off the bench. Nice screening action. We know that's what she's good at. And obviously they're going to attack Christy Wallace off that pick and roll. And Penina found a way to find the bottom of the net on that one.
Borlase for 3.
We talk about how well the Boomers can shoot from deep, but the Land of Plenty is giving a lot to these Adelaide Lightning girls in this opening quarter. 4 of 6 from deep.
Both teams shooting very well from long range. George now for 2. Mansfield's there on the defensive glass. Borlase to her left. In the corner, will she go again? Whittle's in the keyway, the floater. George cleans it up. Minute 15 remaining here in the first quarter. Wallace hesitates, drives, 2 shots. Christy Wallace, 82% free throw shooter on the season. Had 20.7 dimes last week as well versus the Lightning, as Brewster checks into the action. Christy Wallace spent time with the Atlanta Dream as well in the WNBA, as we know. What a calendar year she's had as it wraps up. And 2 from 2. Makes it back to a 10-point margin. Mansfield around the pick, driving on Davidson, denied. Stays with the Lightning. Talbot. Mansfield's wide open from the corner. And Melbourne are there, Christy Wallace. Inside the lane, backs it out. George driving on Brooke. Little short from the free throw line. Gets it to Talbot. Down low to Whittle.
Adelaide right now are just doing the little things, and they're doing them well. They're just seeing the mismatches. They're taking it to the low block. They're seeing where the advantage is, and they're just playing simple basketball. On the other end, Melbourne Boomers are getting some looks, but they're not crashing the glass really well. Each game prior against Adelaide, they've won the boards, as we see Kayla George finally potentially getting herself to the foul line and getting some points to the board. She's none of 5 in this opening quarter, but it's just those 1% things. They're getting the looks, but no one is crashing the glass. Brewster's been injected the game. Hopefully she'll be able to get on the rim, but it's also the shot selection to ensure that you know when your team's going to shoot the ball so that you're in the right position to potentially get that offensive rebound.
Good on the first for George. Lightning have put up 30 points in the period. Managing just 24 in the second half last week. George, 2 from 2. Mansfield, just 10 seconds remaining now in this first quarter. Looking to extend the Lightning lead. She'll put it up for 3. Lauren Mansfield.
Now talk about another one that's having a great season in terms of her productivity from the three-point line. She's averaging over 50% from the three-point line as well. Not only having to do the playmaking duties and create for others, she's still very crafty with the ball in her hand, is this Adelaide native, and from the North Rockets as well, North Adelaide Rockets junior. It's good to see her go back home after a couple of years in Sydney and definitely enjoying playing back in the red-yellow.
One of those 5 players averaging double figures for the Adelaide Lightning. Of course, end of the first quarter, 13-point margin in favour of the Lightning. This would have taken the Boomers maybe a touch by surprise, Jenny.
Maybe a little bit, considering the run at the start. It was 9-2 in favour of the Boomers. They came out of the blocks well. Mia Murray was draining threes when it mattered, and then Kayla George had 3 assists to her name early on. But then Adelaide just crashed the boards really well and were able to get out and run in transition. They got the ball in the hands of the people that mattered. We know that they've obviously, you alluded to, Liam, get 5 plays in double figures, but I want to see Steph Talbot dominate. I want to see Lauren Mansfield dominate on the scoreboard as well. But it was nice to see Basham drain a couple of threes. So what that's telling me is players are just playing their role. They're staying in their lane. They're taking the open shots when they're there, but they're also doing the little things, and that's why they've got the lead at the moment against the Melbourne Boomers. And
in years past as well, Steph Talbot would be the sort of, carrying a high burden of the offensive load for Adelaide. Obviously a bit more of a spread this year in terms of their scoring. They've had 5 different leading scorers through their 8 games to illustrate that. Talbot, though, today, 13 points, 5 of 6 from the field. Well,
I think she has to be a factor. If there's any chance of making the top 4 this year, she has to take the ball into her own hands. And yep, they've got some great imports as well, and it's nice to know that they're up by 33, and those 2 ladies in terms of Bell and Munro haven't really been a factor in this game yet, but the rebound counter doesn't really tell you a whole lot in the fact that it's 11-7 and Adelaide are winning. But what it's not showing to you is that the 2 offensive boards from Adelaide to 0 against the Melbourne Boomers. They're not crashing the glass, the Boomers, which means 1, you're giving up the opportunity to get the O board, but 2, you're not in a defensive transition position to defend going back the other way. But I really love the intent from the Adelaide Lightning in the first quarter.
Adelaide 5 of 8 from long range, as you saw on your screen. We'll go back with Whittle and Borlase off the bench to start the second quarter here. Melbourne with some work to do here at the State Basketball Centre. Vocal home crowd. Nelson Adota back into the fray as well for Chris Lucas's team. Denying Mansfield. Gets it into Marina Whittle. She'll set the action for the Lightning. Brooke. Talbot, the dominant figure of the first quarter. Down low to Whittle. George is there. Nice pass over to Brooke. Uses her body well. Chelsea Brooke, so far this season. We have a foul call here. So the Boomers with the basketball, 15-point margin. Wants Brewster out of there. Here's Goodchild. Christy Wallace. Driving, whips it out. Down low, and Marina Whittle did well. Has ball, lays ahead, turns the Jets on, just runs out of space, and George picks it off. George for Melbourne. Who would have thought coming into this contest it would be a 15-point margin at this early stage to the visitors? Down low, Nelson Adota.
I'm glad they finally went to her. She's got some length out there, especially when Marina Whittle is defending her right now. I think they've got to go inside and a little bit more. Reward the big girl down low. That's what Adelaide Lightning's doing down the other end. They've got 14 points in the paint.
And that was a directive last week as well from Chris Lucas in the huddle. We had Laura Hodges on the broadcast there listening in. They wanted to give it to Nelson Adota down low. They felt like she had the advantage in the keyway.
Oh, and she does. I mean, she's got beautiful length. She stands at 6'5", and then I think with her wingspan there, she's probably 6'8", probably even more. I'm probably not giving her enough juice in those arms, but they've got to go low, especially with Kayla George and her veteran status as well. And while she didn't make that one, that's a good shot for the Melbourne Boomers.
Borlase looking to extend the Adelaide lead. Talbot, travel call. Just picked up the foot. Stop from Melbourne. Under the pump a little bit here, early days. Christy Wallace calling the shots for the Boomers. Mila Goodchild. The game she had last week, driving inside, and it falls.
She did indeed. She grabbed that starting opportunity with Tiff Mitchell. Sideline with the wrist. As we see, great penetration and ball movement here from the Adelaide Lightning.
Borlase just missing, but Brooks chased it down. Tapped out by Goodchild. Brewster just ran out of real estate.
Backtracking to Goodchild. She was sensational 5 days ago. Took that opportunity with both hands and said, Chris Lucas, I am here. Give me more opportunity. And it's nice to know that he can now have that punch in the starting five if he wants. But when Madgen and Mitchell come back, and then let's not forget Lily Scanlon, that he can have an impact player like her. A girl that spent 4 years at Duke, a Brisbane native as well, on the bench, ready to go whenever he needs.
Brooke on the shot clock buzzer. Whittle's there for a fresh 14. Back out to Talbot. Cross-court pass. Nelson Adota giving away nothing. Mansfield pulls up for three. Little short. Wallace. What's next for Melbourne? Loses Talbot, and it will be an offensive foul. Easy call for the referee. So no players in any real foul trouble so far in this ball game. First for Christy Wallace.
And that's just smart by Steph Talbot. Christy Wallace, that's where she can get a little bit of a hot head sometimes. That could have been potentially just a pull-up J, or just pull it out. There's nothing on. Let's get ourselves into a set. Let's get some movement. Let's Adelaide play in the half-court defensively. Make it more of a chess game rather than an offensive foul.
Marina Whittle for three. Talbot's there front position. Chases it down. Stays with Adelaide. Creating extra possessions here, the Lightning. Nearly a fifth offensive rebound for them there.
And that's the difference, right? 4 offensive rebounds and then the 5 turnovers to Melbourne. That's why they see an 11-point deficit. Those second opportunities, 13 of 25 are Adelaide Lightning compared to 9 of 19 for the Melbourne Boomers. Both are shooting at a great clip, but the Boomers are just giving the Adelaide Lightning a few too many opportunities.
Thursday night hoops here. The Adelaide Lightning playing very well so far. Here's Mia Murray on the 45. Goodchild backs it out. Kayla George, single-digit shot clock. Well, lasers hit the deck. There might be a foul call against her. Her second.
I like it though from the Adelaide Lightning. They're trying to be up and in, close the gap and pressure the Boomers into making decisions, and Mia Murray just using her smarts there. Too much of a long close out there from Borlase, and was able to put it on the floor and draw the foul.
Wallace, Goodchild coming around the screen. Defense from Abby Cabillo inserted into the action. Christy Wallace driving to the rack. Count the bucket. She'll go to the line for one more. Great take.
And that's just great one-on-one play there between two greats of our game, Steph Talbot and Christy Wallace. Talbot got one up on her in a play just before with taking the charge, and then Wally went back at her, not afraid at all, and said, got to make up one. And she did with a nice three-point play.
Was out to 15 points at one stage. Could have brought it back to 8 with that free throw. Cabillo running point for the Lightning. Wants cutters, backs it out to Whittle. Talbot looking to drive, poked away from the Boomers. Foul call.
And that's Christy Wallace's second foul there. She's got to be careful. It'll be interesting to see if Chris leaves her out, knowing that he doesn't really have the depth on the bench. But a great couple of minutes here from the Boomers. How can Adelaide respond?
Houston Bell inbounds. That's Murray defending her. George switches. Down low. Whittle, pump fake, no good. Nelson Adota was there, tight to the baseline. Wallace, can she get to her mid-range J? Kayla George tried to thread the needle. Talbot saw better of it. Last touch from George. So Jacinta Munro as well will come back into the ball game.
Turnovers must be frustrating the coaching staff of the Melbourne Boomers right now, but the lucky thing for the Adelaide Lightning is for the Boomers is the Adelaide haven't been able to punish them. Credit to the Boomers in this first 5 minutes of the second quarter. They've only allowed Adelaide Lightning to score 5 points as well.
Bit of a change from the first quarter. An offensive explosion there. Foul call in the painted area.
And you want to keep going to that because that's where the advantage is for the bigger types like Steph Talbot against the smaller Goodchilds and Wallace's is down in that low block. Bell could have come across on the wing a little bit more to get a better angle and just give her a little bit more time to set her feet.
Bell looking to inbound. Cabillo working hard to get open. Bell as well at the three-point arc. Pulls up, mid-range 2, little strong. And the Boomers win it back. Christy Wallace will take it for Melbourne. Has 3 dimes today already. Goodchild. Munro denying George. Offensive foul.
And that's where the Boomers just have to get a little bit more spacing. They did have the right idea. Started in a horn sets where the two bigs are at the elbows. And they're trying to get it into the low block with a back screen there, but then they've got to space out on that. And you know they're going to front the bigs because obviously Lightning don't have the height. They just didn't have that release person up there to make that pass.
Brooke from the corner. 3 ball continues to fall for Adelaide. The 6th of the game. Kayla George, transition 3. Rattles out. Bell. Passing ahead to Brooke, just won't fall. Now Wallace. Tempted to push the pace, backs it out. Kayla George picks up her dribble. Approaching a single-digit shot clock from mid-range. George.
First field goal for George in the game. She'd be a little bit frustrated. She's had some good looks, just hasn't been able to find the bottom of the net. 1 of 8 for the game, and a 6 points, or 4 points rather, but 4 assists to go to her name. But I think they're going to play through her a little bit more, whether it's from the high elbow or down in the pinch at the block. They've got to get the ball in her hands a little bit more and then play off her, whether it be in a 2-man game, a dribble handoff action. But they've got to stop the bleeding of transition of the Adelaide Lightning down the other end to close this deficit in this last 4 minutes of the second quarter.
Adelaide protecting that double-digit lead, leading by 10 here at the timeout, brought to you by Cygnett. Stay connected with the latest WNBL news, social highlights, maybe the weekly top 5. Keep your favourite tech charged up at home or on the go with Cygnett's extensive range of products and digital accessories. Big thanks to Cygnett for powering the WNBL season. Our major partners explore their range at Cygnett FIBA.com. The Adelaide Lightning, Jenny, 38. Lead the Boomers 28. It's been a lower scoring second quarter, just the 13 points combined from both teams. Talbot still leads the way with 13. Melbourne, though, with an even spread.
Yeah, both teams have ramped up the defense a little bit more. There's been a few more errant turnovers in this quarter as well, and both teams are still shooting at a great clip on average. Both, Melbourne are 50 and 40, and the Adelaide Lightning are 46 and 47 from deep. No coach would be complaining about that. They just got to tighten up on the defensive end. The Melbourne Boomers allowing what will probably be around the 45 to 50 mark for the Adelaide Lightning heading to halftime. Just wouldn't be a good thing for Chris Lucas, and no doubt he would want to keep the Adelaide Lightning around that 75 mark.
Kirsten Bell. Talbot at the top. Munro. Long way from home for the Lightning. Badish for three. Slams off the glass. Talbot, though, is there. Extra pass. Bell wide open from the wing.
And that hurts. Great offensive rebound again from Talbot. Huge. 6 off O boards, but to get that O board and the 3, that's even a bigger play for the Adelaide Lightning, and that just creates more bleeding and deficit for the Boomers to try and crawl back.
Nelson Adota at the low block, tapped out by Talbot. Crafty defense, but Bell just mishandled it. Easy bucket, Melbourne. There's a lucky break. If you're the Melbourne Boomers, Nelson Adota with a finish. As Cabillo was fouled, looks to be the third on Christy Wallace.
And that hurts when you're down by as much as the Melbourne Boomers are, as we see a beautiful little steal here. And much needed points for the Boomers there through Adota. Nelson Adota down the other end. Wally giving up another foul.
First is good for Abby Cabillo. First points of the evening.
Love to see Abby get the opportunity. Northern Territory native, Indigenous descent, and a great representative for her people of young girls that could play in this league, and she's doing really well. She's played at the UC Caps for many years. It's nice to see Natty Hurst giving her the opportunity and trusting her to be that backup point guard role to Lauren Mansfield.
Averaging 11 minutes a game off the bench. Back up one for the Lightning. Here's Kayla George. Brewster, nice pass down low. Easy finish for George, who's up to 6 points now.
Big 3 minutes here for the Boomers to try and get momentum back and close this deficit. It all starts on the defensive end.
Mansfield just rims out. Adelaide sit 6th in the WNBL in points allowed at just under 83 a game. What a pass to Murray, slashing to the hoop.
Let me just highlight the beautiful, beautiful pass by Kayla George, who you would mistake for a point guard there. Threading the needle, if you will.
Bell from long range. Short on that occasion. Badish, though, wins it back for Adelaide. Mansfield probing inside. Good defense from George. 5 seconds. Mansfield splits the double. Floater on the shot clock buzzer.
And that's how crafty this woman can be. She has a knack and a natural ability with the ball in her hands to make things happen. There was 5 seconds left on the shot clock here. Mia Murray tried to come out and make a meal of it, but Lauren Mansfield decided she wanted to, and that was just crafty to find something out of nothing there down the stretch. And that's what you want from your playmakers, is the ability to have the ball in their hands when it matters and when the shot clock's running down, and to make plays, and that was a big one.
11-point margin here. 2.5 out from the main break. And you spoke of the pass from Kayla George moments ago, Jenny. She's already got 5 assists in the ball game. Could be triple-double watch again.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there's been some other contributions. It's interesting. She's sitting on 2 fouls, and Christy Wallace has 3, and Chris Lucas may have subbed Wally out now. But if I'm the Adelaide Lightning, I'm attacking them. I'm attacking Kayla George. I'm trying to get them in foul trouble, sending them to the bench so we can punch this lead out a little bit further. But credit to the Adelaide Lightning. They're doing some great stuff on the defensive end. They're locking up. They're tidying up on that and securing the ball with the rebounds. they're making them pay. The offensive glass has been sensational. 7-0 boards, to which 2 of those have ended in finding the bottom of the net from the 3-point line.
As a result, they've had 10 extra attempts from the field, the Lightning. Big reason why they lead in this ball game. Came into the game 3-5, losing touch almost with the Flyers in fourth. This would be a huge, huge performance if they were to hold this lead. The Boomers, though, with the home crowd, will not go away. Kayla George. Down low to Murray. Straight away, too. That goes.
She's getting it done. She sat there for a little bit at the start of the second quarter, but she's just come in and is probably playing her second minute of the second quarter. Just sublime. As there was that shot from Bell, obviously fresh off winning the championship in the WNBA with the Las Vegas Aces.
Pick number 11 in the first round for the Aces was Kirsten Bell. George turns and goes again. Boomers now shooting close to 60% from the field. Remarkable given they're trailing. Bell for 3. Not that time. Back to a single-digit ball game here. Talbot with the steal in transition. She's got 15.
That's her 4th steal, and we haven't even hit the halfway mark of this 40-minute game in the Cygnett WNBL, not to mention the 13.7 rebounds and 2 assists she's got to do it. She's stuffing the stat sheet early in this one.
She starts so far. And she started the first time these two teams met as well at the Melbourne Sports Centre. Had to leave the game late due to injury, costing the Lightning as they lost by 4. So 14-second reset for Melbourne. They trail by 11. Just checking something over and we're back underway. Some of the Melbourne stars not in uniform today. Madgen and Mitchell sitting there on the bench. Murray cutting baseline from the corner. She'll pull up and go, and she's drawn the foul. And that's what happens when you're shooting as well as she is.
Well, she obviously got the attention of Bell there. She has been shooting a good clip, as you did mention there, Liam. You don't want to do that fouling right in front of the referee. There was no better view did our WNBL referees have there. That was an easy call for them.
We've highlighted her shooting clip. Well, it's 93% from the line. 2 from 2. Murray, the leading scorer for Melbourne here. This will make it 13. Back to 8 points. In fact, it's 15 points in the ball game for Mia Murray. Talbot. Badish with the screen. George switches. Now Bell had to retrieve it in the corner. Little strong. Munro late. Stays with Adelaide.
And that's what Adelaide have been doing really well. They may not be coming up with possession even though they've got 7-0 boards, but they're challenging every shot that anyone in their team is taking, which means Adelaide have got 2 options. Boomers have got 2 options, rather. They've got to come up with the rebound, or Adelaide are going to get possession, and that's what they got here as we come to a timeout. It'll be interesting to see what Chris Lucas does, whether he goes into a zone here at this baseline out of bounds, or whether he stays in man. But you can't highlight enough the blue-collar work being showed by the Adelaide Lightning here in this first half of basketball.
Shooting 47% from the field. The Adelaide Lightning 41 from 3. Interestingly, Melbourne have had just the 5 3-point attempts so far in this ball game, which, given that's a strength of theirs, Jenny. Is that a surprise to you?
No, not really. I mean, you know, you don't want to be shooting, I don't believe, more than half of your shots from a 3-point line. They've had some good looks. They're working the ball screen and the dribble handoffs a little bit more. They've had some mid-range game. They're attacking the rim hard. Their shots will come from outside when they get the ball in a little bit more efficiently. Thing they've got to tidy up is they've got 10 turnovers. And we've still got 30 seconds to go in this one. Lucky for them, Adelaide Lightning haven't really made them pay in terms of that. They've got 10 points off those 10 turnovers. But if they can tidy that up, look after the rock a little bit more, there might be a chance to close this one out a little bit. But we're going to have a hell of a game in this second half.
Two leading scorers at the baseline. We'll restart. Talbot and Murray with 15 apiece. Offensive foul against the Lightning. Looks to be on Jacinta Munro. Well, number 3. So she'll sit to end the first half. And she was in foul trouble last week as well, Jacinta Munro. Didn't hit the scoreboard. Had just 15 minutes of action due to foul trouble. So unfortunately, a bit of deja vu so far in this ball game. Her team, though, getting the job done. Good child for 3. Pulled down by Talbot. Now Kirsten Bell. Good defense from George. Rebound number 5 in the ball game for Kayla George. Bell defending her. Chris Lucas watching on. Here's Mia Murray. Baseline, got to go up. 1 second, that'll do it. 49, the Adelaide Lightning lead the home side. Melbourne Boomers 41 here at the State Basketball Centre. Adelaide have been on fire, Jenny.
It's been a great contest. I can't believe it. Both teams are shooting in a prolific clip. I think the defense, to be honest, has been pretty superb across the board, but it's just been better offense tonight. There's been a few lazy turnovers by the Melbourne Boomers, but all credit to Adelaide Lightning in that first half. After starting a bit slow, they've pegged it back and they go into the halftime with a great lead. And we're going to have a contest, Liam.
Looks like it. We were in a similar position really last Sunday as well. Close game at the half. Thought it was going to go down to the wire, and then Melbourne absolutely blew it out. So we'll wait and see what we've got in store here. Christy Wallace has been pretty good again, but in some foul trouble with 3 personals. Jacinta Munro, as well, as we spoke of just moments ago, has 3 personals. Talbot with 15. Mia Murray has 15. And the Lightning are 7 of 18 from long range here. Stick with us. Second half of this one coming up for your Thursday night hoops. It's the Adelaide.
Two Frolic sisters will come together mid-court. Alicia the elder by 7 minutes. They'll have nothing more than ripping into each other. It's always fun to watch. For Sydney, can they come up with one of their own? Froling drives, her sister's there. And makes the stop.
Kayla George is having an outstanding season.
George. 3 ball goes up and in.
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Here's a chance. And nails it.
Steph Reid to be able to shoot the ball from the perimeter. They're trying to go underneath ball screens, or at least they did the initial one on that possession.
She found her way through on that occasion. Had to work for it.
Mind her trying to play back to basket against Steph Reid with the strength mismatch.
Reid down the other end makes it pay. McSpadden to Reid. She wants another 3. This time nails it.
Wilson to Wilson to Griffin, and there it is.
Big moments arise and you need a big play to see her going, hello, I can do this.
Extra pass, good child for 3. What about the triple? Tries to take Talbot off the dribble. Good pass to Good Child. Second 3 ball drops for her. George, extra pass. Good Child has 2 triples already.
There were a lot of credit for that.
Backs it out, steps out for a 3 and it goes.
There she goes.
Prepare your taste buds.
Hungry?
Famished.
For 6 delicious nights on 9.
Dare to replicate the snack.
Australia's best chefs. Head to head, recreating our most iconic snacks.
I think I stuffed this up. Get it together. I know you've got this.
It looks like salt and pepper calamari.
New Snack Masters. Stream the latest episodes on 9 now.
You know they don't teach in PI schools how to get the money shot.
They're undercover.
What are you doing?
That is how you get the money shot.
Cracking cases
Nothing says I'm stalking you like a hidden camera.
the old-fashioned way. Jason Priestley.
Are you nuts?
It's a rental. Private Eyes. Stream complete seasons on 9 Now.
Who is the coach's favourite?
Oh, I haven't been there long.
Me. I can't say I've done two sessions.
Courtney Woods. Shyla. Shanice Swain. Coach's favourite? Sherfy would be up there. Yeah.
Shyla.
Talbot.
Do I have to answer that yet? Probably myself.
The coach's favourite? Sarah. Sarah Blitzhoffs. Absolutely Cheryl's favourite. And I'll be more than happy to say that.
Oh, no favourites.
Taya Burrows.
Mia.
The coach's favourite? Me! Easily.
From Australia, the Nasty Coconuts and
Can the bromance reignite?
The show must go on.
Summer's greatest epic is coming.
So baby, in 90 days, we're gonna be husband and wife.
I was with her for 5 days, and then I proposed to her.
She's so eager to be in love, she lets red flags just go.
People say 19-year-old, she's just using you. Maybe she could be.
90 Day Fiancé. Get your summer streaming on 9 Now.
Hi Hoopers, I'm Tess Madgen. I'm so excited to be offering virtual masterclasses this school holidays with She Hoops. Starting on the 9th of January at 5:30 p.m. every Monday night. In this 5-week series, we will be delivering a range of basketball skills. I will also take you through a number of mobility skills designed to keep your body active and engaged. And the best part is that it's free. Go to shehoops.com.au to register now and secure your spot.
Expect the unexpected. It's summer's greatest show.
Best point of the match.
And he is the greatest showman.
What an athlete.
What a play. King Nick leads the Aussie assault.
This one is for country.
Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats.
The truth is, you're always better off with a really good lie. Pretty Little Liars. Get your summer streaming on 9 Now.
Can everyone line up? Make Brixmas memories on 9 Now.
Have you been good, boys?
Magical creations.
Attack that Lego.
Will blow your mind.
That's a really great hip one.
Who will be Brixmas champion?
Deck the halls with something, something.
Stream now on 9 Now. It's the biggest WNBL season yet, and superstar Lauren Jackson returns. Don't miss a block, basket, or game winner.
That's not steal the win.
WNBL, live on 9 Now.
Looking for something to keep the kids entertained these school holidays?
Listen to the roar of that crowd.
Come and watch Australia's elite female basketballers in action as they battle it out for championship glory in the Cygnett WNBL.
Good! That's a good shot.
Tickets available now. To book your seat, visit WNBL.basketball.
Every girl's gotta have a hobby.
Veronica, why does trouble follow you around?
Veronica Mars. Get your summer streaming on 9 Now.
For over a century, I have lived in secret until now.
What are you? The Vampire Diaries. Get your summer streaming on 9 Now.
And flip the script so far from the blowout that favoured the Boomers last Sunday, Jenny.
Yeah, if you just turned on your telly as we get close to Christmas, I don't think you thought this would be the scoreline at halftime, but now the challenge is for Adelaide as they come out of the huddle. We know Melbourne Boomers are going to turn it up a notch. They have to. They've given up 10 turnovers and 8 offensive boards, which allows 11 more scoring shots to Adelaide Lightning. But the test for Adelaide Lightning is, can they keep it going in the third? You know, the old cliche is that championships are won in the third, and to my knowledge and experience, a lot of the time it is. And it'll be a true test for them. Can they keep doing what they're doing? And what they're doing well is they're crashing the O boards well. Their ball movement is sensational. They've got 13 assists in the opening half. They've got great distribution and scoring punch from everyone that's entered the court tonight. Everyone's playing their roles. But can they do it for another 20 minutes? That is the big question.
Boomers with some outs today. Tiff Mitchell not in uniform if you've just joined us, but hasn't Steph Talbot start?
She's been a stud. We saw her at the World Cup in September here when the girls got rose gold up in Sydney at the World Championships, and she probably hasn't had the season that we thought she should be having. She was the MVP a couple of seasons ago in the WNBL. We know what she's capable of, and sometimes she can fade a little bit as games go on or seasons go on, but her challenge is to stay on point. Can she play for 40 minutes? This will be the test for her. She's been prolific in terms of efficiency tonight, 6 of 7 from the field, and a couple of free throws as well to go with it, but 8 rebounds, 2 of those offensive, and 4 steals. You know, the Lightning average just a touch over 8 steals a game, so we know they can cause trouble with their physicality and being an up and in style type of defensive team, but credit to them and Steph Talbot, she's definitely leading the way for them. Having some ball game, named in the All-Star 5 at the World Cup as well a couple of months ago. Big time accolade. Gets it down low to Munro. Back out there with 3 personals. Mansfield around the screen, 5-second shot clock. Brooke for 3. Won't go. Goodchild gets her second start of her WNBL career here today. George hands it off to Wallace. Lightning doing well to deny. Nelson Adota from the elbow. Just won't fall. And while that shot didn't fall, that was the right action. They were trying to be intentful and get it in the low block with Kayla George, who was being fronted, and they got it through Nelson Adota's hands, but her defense sagged, which allowed her that open shot. It just didn't find the bottom of the net. Leah Murray, deep triple. Talk about someone that's finding the bottom of the net. I can't give this girl or this woman, this mum of one, enough accolades. Just a resurgence and the enjoyment of which she's playing with. just gives me so much joy to see her with that and the way she's playing.
What a star she is. Up to 18 points in the ball game. 6 of 8 shooting. 3 from deep. Back to 5 points the margin as well for Melbourne. With the first bucket, Murray, she'll go again. Heat check 3, won't fall. Bell. Now Mansfield's held the lead since halfway through that first quarter, Adelaide. Hand off to Talbot, driving hard inside the paint. Mansfield in the corner. Got to make her move, 4 seconds. Mansfield with the finish.
Yeah, and we saw that in the first half. She made plays when the shot clock was low, and that was a great one there. Goodchild, probably not the greatest defender in the purple uniform, but credit to Mansfield there as we see the vet at the other end.
George will go to the free throw line. Caught a trip from Bell, got the foul call, and the finish.
And while it probably wasn't an opening half that we've seen Kayla George play the way that she wants to play this season, her numbers are still pretty good. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. She's on triple-double watch, even though it's not the prolific double-double that we've known to come in this season from her. So watch that stat line, if you will.
Started off 1 of 9 from the field, George. Now 4 of 12. Still making a big impact. Mansfield. Brooke with the handoff to her skipper in Talbot. Munro, long range 2. First points of the ball game for Jacinta Munro.
She had to sit late in that second quarter with the 3 fouls. The veteran of 34 years of age. She's been around. She's played in 11 countries in her professional career, so she knows what's it like to play around and in different leagues. And while she may not be scoring, she adds value in different ways. She's physical, she can protect the rim, and she provides trust to the guards in front of her that she's like, hey, I got your back when you potentially may get beaten.
Some resume. Former number 6 pick as well in the WNBA, Monroe. Here's Kirsten Bell cutting to the hoop. Monroe, back-to-back buckets.
Don't underestimate how hard that was to set that screen and then turn the way she did off that pick and roll, as we see Christy Wallace doing Wally things, that nice little pull-up J. Very Sandy Brondello-esque, if you will. Sandy was a great pull-up J shooter.
Automatic from Christy Wallace. Back to a 2-possession ball game. Brooke. Talbot defended nicely by Murray. Forced out, extra pass. Kirsten Bell for 3.
Put that one on the code, if you will, please, to watch that. Great ball movement. Steph Talbot drew the D, collapsed them in, kick out. Lauren Mansfield found Bell. Hasn't shot that well. 3 of 11 or 4 of 12 on the night, but finds herself in the double digits with 12 on the board.
Murray goes again.
Liam, can I have what she's drinking, please? Can I?
21 in the ball game for Mia Murray. 4th triple goes down, Jenny. Kirsten Bell. Adelaide looking for a response on that possession. Talbot can't find the rim. The crowd here at the State Basketball Centre is being treated to some shooting performance.
And that's been the WNBL the whole season, in my opinion. The level and quality of games that these girls are producing night in and night out. The draw is intense. The travel is intense. There's no questions or qualms from these professional athletes. They're putting on a show. And we know how much the Melbourne Boomers fans love their players.
Got a great fan base. Down low to Nelson Adota. In traffic. Mansfield on the defensive glass.
Munro looks a little bit tired there in the backcourt, but you can see what the Lightning are doing. They're trapping as soon as the ball goes into the low block. Steph Talbot came across on that one.
And Talbot for 3. 3-pointer number 9 for Adelaide. Shooting above 40% from long range. Wallace flips it out. Nelson Adota will back it out. Nice pass to Murray. Cutting inside the keyway. Goodchild for 3. And Nelson Adota just snatched it from over the top of Mansfield's travel call. That's a miss for the Boomers.
Munro looks a little bit worse for wear. Just a little bit of a limp there. I don't know if it's a calf or an ankle. Just taking a well-earned rest. Her minutes there. This is opening of this second half have been quality for the Adelaide Lightning. And when you just think the Boomers have control and are starting to close the deficit, the Adelaide Lightning are still finding the bottom of the net. And that was a classy finish that we saw there from the veteran Munro.
Can make it a double-digit ball game once again with a bucket here. The Adelaide Lightning, Talbot for three. Long rebound, favours Mansfield. Good child, defending the rock. Bell, deep triple. Just off. George releasing Wallace. Assessing her options forward, crossing left. George, will to space from the top. 3 ball falls.
And that's all because of Christy Wallace. She pushed that ball with pace. She drove deep into the key. She probably could have kept her dribble alive, but she collapsed the defense. And the Kayla George just had their knack and the ability to just slot into that trail position. But whilst they're scoring, they're not stemming the blood flow that's causing that deficit. Adelaide Lightning are just getting too many easy looks at the moment in this third quarter.
Keep turning the scoreboard over. The Adelaide Lightning, George, tough take on the left. She's got 16 in the ball game now to my count. Mansfield off the dribble from the top of the paint.
If you love offense, you've got to love this game. My goodness, both teams shooting at a prolific clip. Plus 45 for both.
Mia Murray once again. 3-ball number 5 for her. She is absolutely scintillating here tonight.
This is what you call Liam being in the zone. She probably doesn't even know what she scored. She's probably so exhausted. She's probably thinking about, I've had no sleep last night because of my child. I don't know what she's thinking, but she's probably thinking nothing, considering the way she's scoring at the moment.
Christy Wallace to the rack. She'll go to the line. It's a high five from the fans.
Thank goodness. I need a break. This game is being played at high intensity right now. The quality is sensational. The shot selection is beautiful. The pace at which these girls are playing, as we see there, whilst we're looking at Lauren Mansfield, you can see the top of our screen, the jets and the feet and the power of Christy Wallace. But, man, oh man, what a contest.
Wallace converts. World-class basketball here for the Cygnett WNBL on 9 now. Back to 4 points the margin. Adelaide have had all the answers so far. Mansfield can't convert. Melbourne, though, got their tails up here, approaching the end of the third. Wallace probing inside, contested too.
And this is what she has the ability to do, the ability to take over games when it matters. And that's what she's done really well this season, is reducing her hot-nettedness at time. We saw it creep in the first quarter, in the first half. She had those 3 fouls. She's calmed herself down a little bit. And this has forced a timeout by Nat Hurst and the Adelaide Lightning as they close this deficit here on their home court.
Christy Wallace has 10 points in the ball game. Timeout on the floor. Back to 2 points the margin. This timeout brought to you by DIY Blinds. To fit out your Australian-made designer quality window furnishings at the best prices as summer approaches, head to DIYblinds.com.au to order your free samples today. And the Melbourne Boomers, you knew they would come at some point, Jenny. It was out to 15 at one stage. Back to a 2-point ball game. Mia Murray, the top scorer in the game. 24 points, 8 of 11 from the field. 5 of 6 from 3. Gee.
And I'm sure her dad, Arthur Newley, is probably sitting there going, I taught her this, when we know full well it was mum, Janelle Newley. I wonder if they're in Melbourne right now. They could be here, considering both of their kids. Both of their children are playing for Melbourne-based teams. Brad Newley, as I spoke about, plays for Melbourne United in the NBL and has done for more than 300 games now. Is a Boomer himself. What a great family. But right now, can't shout out enough to both of these teams. It's going to be a hard one to watch in terms of how do you cut up the tape for this.
Too many highlights to pick at the moment. Mansfield. Badish back out there for Nat Hurst team, as is Borlase around the Whittle pick. Looking for a pass deflected to Wallace. So 3 Lightning players ahead. Murray opted against the triple, puts it on the deck.
And that's what happens. Like, they've run her off the three-point line knowing how well she's shooting at the moment. But then she's got the experience to know, well, if you're going to close out to me long, I'm going to put it on the deck and find another way.
Well, it's 26 in the ball game for Mia Murray. Love to know what the career high is, Jenny. She is putting on a show. Wallace got a hand in. Whittle contested 2, just rattles out. We're tied up here at the State Basketball Centre. Wallace will slow it up for Melbourne. George on triple-double watch for the 2nd week running. 16, 8 and 8 for her. On the baseline, has position and uses it. So Melbourne retake the lead for the first time since, I believe, the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Ball lays to the rack. 2 shots. So just 1 of 3 from the field today, Izzy Borlase.
And that's okay. She's young, she's a baby, and her inexperience at playing at this level, as we see Kayla George here, just using her vetness, shall we say, against the younger Basham. But Borlase is a star of the future. She's going to have games more often than not where she's going to be inconsistent. Yep, she'll knock down 17 one game, and then perhaps the next limited court time, limited opportunity. The ball doesn't come away. But what she will give you is not just the scoring, but her ability to rebound. You know, I played netball, which most people watching probably go, oh, why are you playing netball? But I played netball young, and her mum was one of my favourite netballers of all time. Jennifer Borlase, great name that one, by the way, but one of the best goal shooters and goal attacks ever to put on the green and gold for netball.
Comes from a fair sporting background, and father as well. Played for Port Adelaide in the AFL. Davidson inside the paint. You just feel that Borlase will have some moments down the stretch as well. Davidson denied. Boomers with the defence. 60 seconds out from the final break here at the State Basketball Centre in Melbourne. Murray on the perimeter. I'll be closing out to her very quickly. Davidson. Borlase did well. Just kept it in. Talbot. That'll be a foul call on the Boomers.
And we spoke about this, you know, it's almost a flip of the cards from first quarter to third. Adelaide 33-20 in that opening quarter, whereas now Melbourne are 30 on the board to Adelaide's 20 in this quarter. 20's great. You'd be happy with that 22 mark. But defensively, they've just been lacking a little bit, but the Melbourne Boomers, credit to them, the vets have stepped up. George in this quarter, Mia Murray as well, and obviously Christy Wallace in her brilliance as she finds herself on the bench having a well-earned rest. Big play for the Lightning here.
Good child back out there. Gets it into Borlase. No good on the reverse. And Brewster with the rebound. 30 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Good child wants a screen. Davidson hovering, hands it back. Brewster's on the perimeter, as is Murray. Talbot. And it goes the way of Adelaide. Last touch, Melbourne.
Steph Talbot only 3 points on the quarter. Would love to see the ball in her hands a little bit more. Still on that triple-double watch a little bit as well. Not as much as Kayla George with, oh, she is definitely getting a triple-double tonight. 18 points, if you will. 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Watch this space for Kayla George, and there's Steph Talbot as well. 18, 9 and 3 with the 4 steals.
Two of the Star Opals having their impact here. Whittle to the rack. Big time bucket for Adelaide. And she, with a true free throw, can take the lead going into the last, you'd think, for the Lightning. There's the Mia Murray 3. 1 of 5 in the ball game for her.
Great momentum getter here from Whittle. Huge bucket in the context of the game. Obviously came off the bench, and this one has been a starter for the Adelaide Lightning in previous games, but nice to see her still have an input, and that's what you want to know and trust when you take a player sometimes out of the starting lineup and inject them off the bench. And Whittle did that just then for the Lightning and give them a 1-point lead heading into the fourth.
Here we go. one-point ball game with 10 minutes of action to go. 72 Adelaide lead the Boomers, who had a furious third quarter there. 71 behind Mia Murray's 26 in the ball game. Almost overshadowing what could very likely be a triple-double for Kayla George with 18, 8 and 9 as well.
That was definitely one of the best third quarters or quarters of basketball I've seen in the Cygnett WNBL of this season. And we're only in round 7, Liam. It was just hot from both ends. Defense was pretty on point, but the offense was just better. Mia Murray was vintage and has been already 26 points. And the only thing she's done wrong is given up the ball 3 times. And then it was Christy Wallace's turn. She wanted to get in on the action. She pushed the pace and was a devil to try and defend in the open court. And then Kayla George, she was sublime. Pretty quiet opening half for her, but 18 points, 7 of 16 now, upping up that shooting percentage. But anyone's ball game. That was huge. Both looked after the rock really well in that one. Points in the paint, just coming the way of the Boomers in that one, even though Mia Murray, I should say, has been draining it from deep. And that's going to be the difference. Who's going to dominate the paint? And then who's going to win the rebound count? If you can win the rebound count, and any team that when they've gone head-to-head between these two, the one that's won the rebound count has actually won the game. So at this point, Adelaide Lightning lead that by 3 at the moment.
Melbourne have already won the season series between these two. Adelaide looking to get a victory in their final matchup of the season here. And Melbourne playing as advertised. Look at those percentages. 61 from the field, 46 from 3. And Jenny, you highlighted earlier as well in the broadcast, Kayla George might be up there for the MVP. She has not heard her chances today. 3 Team of the Week so far this season. And she might be on her way to another here.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed the maturity of which she's playing with this season. You know, she's a new mum, and shout out to Megan Huswaite, who wrote a beautiful article just recently, I think a couple of days ago, about the mums in the league. I think we got 10. Mia Murray there on screen is 1. Kayla George is a new mum with her daughter Pearl, who I think is around 10 weeks old. I'm not sure. She's probably there watching as well. So different priorities for these women now. You know, obviously they obviously still eat, sleep and think about basketball, but the priority is now their children. And it's just nice to see them being able to put on the display that they can. And it shows that they can do both, be mum and be professional athletes as well, and have been doing it not just this year, but many women across our league. I can think back to Robin Marr and players of her time that played with children as well.
It's been a magical year for Kayla George. No doubt about that. Needs 205 more rebounds as well to be the all-time leader.
She'll get that. She's still got a few years in her anyway. Retirement, what? She's at the ripe old age of 34, and I think playing some of the best basketball of her career.
Could be the question of, will she get it this season?
Well, that's a big ask, mate. 200 plus rebounds. If they're shooting at the clip they're shooting, there's not that many rebounds to go around. They're shooting at a nice 49% on the season. So I think she'd rather them shoot at a good clip rather than break that record. But
definitely, yes.
I think she's going to eat that up. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know for our statisticians out there listening, but I'm pretty sure Adelaide Lightning great Rachel Spawn might hold that record in terms of leading the rebound count in the WNBL.
So Mansfield from the line gets it back to a 3-point ball game. What do we have in store in this fourth quarter? Christy Wallace. George posting up down low. Murray goes again for 3.
She is just locked in. She was jogging back on that one as soon as it left her fingertips. Give the ball to Mia Murray, people.
Talbot, Baddish in the corner, can't find the rim. Wallace. And the Adelaide defense will be thinking, where is Mia Murray? Do not give her an inch. George. Brewster off the dribble, mid-range, no good. All tied up here. Talbot releasing Whittle. He can't convert on the lay-in. Christy Wallace. Now Nelson Adota off the dribble, gets the call.
And you can just see a few probably not great shot selections from the Adelaide Lightning in the last couple of passages of play have now meant that the Boomers have gone off and pushed in transition and forcing the Lightning into catch-up defensive trans, which can be erratic and create confusion. And then you see Nelson Adota, who's had a pretty quiet night and rightly slow when Mia Murray and George and Wallace are doing such a great job, but she's still been impactful in the minutes that she's played. 8 points, done a great job also defending Jacinta Munro.
Averaging 13 and 6 over her past 5 games. Alumni of the powerhouse program UConn in the US. Retakes the lead for Melbourne there at the line. Mansfield, she'll pull up herself, just won't fall. Adelaide 9 of 24 on the evening from 3 now. Melbourne shooting 50% themselves. Wallace. Down low, Nelson Adota. That's Badish. Tries to make some room, falls. Crowd getting involved here at the State Basketball Centre. Whittle. Back out to Talbot. Miscommunication. Whittle just gets there. Dancing along the baseline. She's gone out of bounds.
Now, you can look at that both ways and say, yep, the pass was there and it's open, but then you could see Whittle was knowing my priority is to get on the glass because I know Steph Talbot, being an opal, being the player that she is going to put that one on the rim. And considering the night and the first half that Steph Talbot have, she's going to want to take that shot, not pass it up. And hopefully in this next 7 minutes, we can see her wind back the clock, what we saw in the opening first half of her being more a priority on the offensive end.
Just the 4th miss from the field there on the game for Mia Murray. Mansfield puts it on the deck, has George defending. Whittle, travel call.
And that's where Mansfield probably should have attacked the rim hard. She was playing around with it on the spot, going nowhere. It's just make a move, two hesitation move, put your jets on and try and blow past Kayla George, and or at least get to the foul line or collapse the D and get a kick out. But credit to Kayla George, she did a great job of keeping her space and width and then forcing the turnover to the Adelaide Lightning.
Christy Wallace. Hand off to George. Wallace for 3 for Melbourne. George on the glass. Rebound number 10. Extra possession, Melbourne. George with a pick. 4 seconds, got to go. Throws it up and in.
20th bucket of the night to go with 10 rebounds, 9 assists. She was 0 of 8 in the opening first quarter and has been locked in ever since for the Melbourne Boomers.
What a ball game from Kayla George. Mansfield, Adelaide need the response. Whittle does just that.
And that just takes the wind out of the State Basketball Centre, the home of the Melbourne Boomers. When you thought the Boomers just had control, of which they do at this point in the game, the Adelaide Lightning find the bottom of the net.
George, good contest, Munro. Talbot, seen trailing by possession. Now Whittle has 8 points off the bench today for Adelaide. Driving left on George. Tough take.
Tough buckets. Marina Whittle, shout out. The end of the third, she made that big play. And then a 3 in the corner, the last passage before, and then that bucket against the length of Kayla George. As we see here, just a bit of drops action. Kayla George just probably putting her hands in rather than moving her feet, and Marina Whittle being able to show some class and get to the rack there and lose that deficit to 1 win.
1 point ball game. Melbourne 80 lead the Lightning 79. Plenty of juniors here in attendance, as there always is. Making an absolute racket, mind you, at the State Basketball Centre. And this time out is brought to you by Aussie Hoops. And the program has had its biggest year to date. 42,000 participants at the local Aussie Hoops Centre nearby. No doubt there's plenty in attendance here today for your Thursday night hoops. It's the introduction to basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. Whether your little one is a seasoned basketball fan or looking to give it a go, this is the program for you. Register now at aussiehoops.basketball to kickstart your journey. So still 5 minutes, or 6 minutes rather, remaining in this ball game here. What a game it's been so far. Mia Murray has 29. Kayla George seemingly imminently will have a triple-double, 20, 10 and 9 if she can have one more assist. And for Adelaide, 17 for Mansfield, double-double to Talbot, 18 and 11, and 4 steals as well.
the stat line of some of these girls is just amazing. And while you want to speak and highlight one, there's just so many to talk about right now. It's just a game of ebbs and flows, and it's a great display of elite women's basketball.
Goodchild hands it to Wallace. Thought about pulling up. Talbot, good defense. Over to Nelson Adota.
And that's just called sticking to the play. Wally got blocked there, followed up, got the possession back, and found a nice little thread of the needle to Nelson Adota, who was able to finish through traffic.
Talbot thought about the triple. Marina Whittle. Big couple of buckets in the fourth quarter for her, but it's picked off by Mila Goodchild. George. Now Wallace hands it back. George can go from three. That's a huge bucket for Melbourne. Kayla George loves it. 6-point margin favouring the Boomers. Borlase. Matt Hurst's team. They need a response. Talbot, the skipper, gets the call. 2 shots for her.
And I'm glad that they finally did that. They used her in the low block a lot in the first half, and they've gone away from that. They've spaced out a little bit too much for my liking. And if Mia Murray's going to destroy you on the offensive end, well, you might as well make her have to be really tight on the defensive end. And she's got the matchup in the second half here against Talbot, as Wallace had her in the first. A clever move from Chris in that department, using the length of Murray against the strong Steph Talbot, but the ball's got to be in her hand. We've got 5 minutes to go. She's only taken 10 shots. She's shooting at 70% of the game. You've got to run her with her pick and rolls, some staggered action on the weak side, or just a nice little flex cut and a post up that gets Steph Talbot the ball.
Yet to have a spell in this ball game, Steph Talbot. Nearly had the steal there. Thought it was last touch, Melbourne. So Adelaide in defense again. Murray will inbound. Wallace. 9 assists for her as well. George in the corner. 6 seconds. Flips it up. Nelson Adota, and Talbot cleans it up. It's a big stop for the Lightning. Just over 4 minutes remaining here. Talbot driving hard to the hoop. Just doesn't fall. But 2 shots coming up for Adelaide. Steph Talbot making things happen.
And so she should. She's the captain of this team. She's the leader of this team. She's a World Championship player. She's a WNBA player as well. She needs to put this team on her shoulders and carry them through this last 4 and a bit minutes of this contest.
Adelaide at 92% from the line today in this one.
I thought she pushed it a little bit there, Liam. I was going to blame you for that one, but found the bottom of the net.
Just got there. And 2 from 2. Wallace, manning point guard for Melbourne. Going to be a tight finish here at the State Basketball Centre. What a ball game. Christy Wallace. George, top of the arc. She'll turn and fire herself. Kayla George, another triple. 3rd for her, 26 now to her scoring tally. Finds Whittle, reverse. Important bucket, Adelaide.
Rejection of Whittle in this second half has been superb. She's playing undersized, trying to match up on Kayla George, and doing a great job. Even though she's got 23 points to her name, she's making her earn all of those buckets. But out on the offensive end, she's doing a great job as well.
And Talbot finds her again. So Whittle to the free throw line to extend her scoring tally, to cut it to 2. With 3.5 remaining in this ball game. And the second half in particular from George has just been stellar. Putting her team on her back here.
Marina Whittle, 81% on the season from the foul line, 69 for her career. Big foul shots coming up in the context of this one.
Just missing. So more to come. rebounders enter the fray. Of course, Marina Whittle and Lauren Mansfield, bronze medalists at the Com Games in a 3x3 earlier this year. That one falls. So Whittle might have been a tech or an unsportsmanlike foul. We missed that up here in the box, but nonetheless back to a 2-point ball game.
And that's massive in the context of the game. Boomers now are on team fouls, so any foul going their way, they're sending the Adelaide Lightning to the foul line. So if I'm the Lightning, I'm attacking. I'm putting the pressure on the referees to send us to the foul line. And then on the other end, the Boomers have got to play smart defensively, but they've got to keep attacking. And where do you put the ball? You put the ball in Mia Murray's hands, you put it in Kayla George's hands, and the rest of you just crash the boards.
14 seconds for Kayla George and the Boomers. Into Nelson Adota. Good child, cutting hard. Wallace, a little wayward.
And again, Whittle just came off there. She left George in the corner. Brave move to do, but forced the pass as she tried to trap Wally on that penetration with Steph Talbot. And that error and turnover from the Melbourne Boomers.
And Wallace nearly came up with it. Dives on it. Mansfield did just enough. Adelaide retain it. Talbot with the rock. The skipper, 21 points. Into the corner. Borlase takes the lead for Adelaide. And a call from the referee.
Talk about a big play for a young girl. Right there, Izzy Borlase, huge. Forces the lead for Adelaide Lightning with just a touch under 3 minutes to go. I am on the edge of my seat here watching this contest, Liam. If you weren't so far away from me, I would have punched you about 5 times in the arm already in this fourth quarter.
Borlase having an impact off the pine, 8 points.
But that happened because Steph Talbot wanted the ball in her hand. She put it under her hand on that wing, called Chelsea Brook in for the screen, attacked it hard, drew the D, they collapsed. She found a teammate, trusted Izzy, and Izzy had her feet set and went whack.
Now Melbourne, their turn to respond. Nelson Adota retrieves it from George, tapped away. Adelaide, Borlase turns the Jets on. She's into double figures and forces a timeout. Lightning by 3 points.
Well, you couldn't have scripted this one, Liam. I've got goosebumps watching it, and I hope everyone does at home. When you thought the Melbourne Boomers were potentially going to run away with it early stages of this fourth quarter, the Adelaide Lightning have dug deep, and they've dug deep through the likes of their captain, Steph Talbot, and then little nice cameo roles from Marina Whittle and Izzy Borlase, doing the little things when it matters at the right time. But big 2.5 minutes coming up.
Once again, the Lightning 32 bench points today. It's a strength of theirs. 2.5.
And that's the difference, right? When you talk about bench points, and then Chris Lucas on the other side and the Melbourne Boomers, he's gone to his rotation of 7 players. Only 7 players have hit the court, of which Brewster has played 13 or just a touch under 14 minutes, and then Patina Davison with 8 minutes. All of their starting 5 are almost plus 33 for the game. They've got to be tired. Oh, boy, oh boy, they're putting on some stats in this one. But will the fatigue catch them in the end?
You'd expect that rotation will extend once some of the stars come back for Melbourne. Chris Lucas has had a trim rotation over the last few weeks, playing just 7 or 8 players throughout the last fortnight.
And they've got a big game. They've got Southside Flyers coming up as well before Christmas, and then
huge game. It's their only loss of the season so far against Southside at this very venue on ESPN.
Maybe it's Bendigo. I could be wrong, but what I'm not wrong about is Kayla George being on triple-double watch, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Can she rack up one more?
Borlase gets a hand in. Wallace just retrieves it for Melbourne. Nelson Adota with the pick. Wallace, good child, comes across. Great hustle. Wins it for the Boomers. And Wallace can reset. George slashing to the hoop. Murray Goes again. Just missing. But the Boomers creating extra possessions here. Gee, that would have been fitting if Murray was to convert. 5 seconds. Wallace for 3. And Talbot just can't get the stop, Adelaide. Melbourne have had about a minute of the ball here. George for 3. Finally, Marina Whittle wins it.
3 offensive rebounds to the Melbourne Boomers there. Couldn't convert on the scoreboard. Adelaide Lightning got away with that one.
Mansfield. Can they extend the lead? Adelaide. 5 seconds. Talbot got to go. Mishandles. Melbourne with the stop. Can Wallace move it quickly? Probing straight into Mansfield. Offensive foul. Christy Wallace infuriated with herself.
And that was a great read there from Lauren Mansfield. We know that Christy Wallace loves a fast break, but Lauren almost caught one in the face as well.
Frantic, tense scenes here at the State Basketball Centre.
But if I'm the Adelaide Lightning, I hope that they all know that Christy Wallace has 4 fouls. And you want to put her in a pick and roll, you want to put her in a screening action, you want to take her one-on-one or something and attack her to force her either fouling out or giving you an easy bucket.
Mansfield defended tightly by Wallace. Doesn't want to give away a 5th. Whittle with the screen. She's had a great 4th quarter. Talbot maybe forced it, denied by George. Gets it ahead to Goodchild. Tight to the baseline, she's got to reset. Less than a minute to go here. Melbourne just need a bucket. Wallace down the lane, extra pass. Mia Murray in the corner. 3 ball drops. Murray's got 32, and we are tied up at the State Basketball Centre.
And I got goosebumps. Mia Murray, take a bow. If you want the ball in anyone's hands in this game, considering the way this girl has shot the ball tonight, as we see Christy Wallace drawing the D, kicking to the girl who has been lights out all night. 6 of 8 from deep, if you don't mind. Sorry, correction. 7 of 9 on the night. 32 points, winding back the clock. And probably the most points she's scored ever in her career in the WNBL.
Quite likely. Some performance, and I'll tell you what, the State Basketball Centre has been loud tonight. That might have been the loudest it's been. And you just knew when it went to Murray in the corner wide open, this is going down.
Oh, absolutely. It was money. And everyone in that stadium, I have no doubt, was standing up in anticipation of that finding the bottom of the net. And the Adelaide Lightning have gone to the same play every single time down the last couple of possessions. They're finding Steph Talbot on the wing with a pick and roll, but they're getting the wrong person in the screening action with her. They're calling up Kayla George into the screening action when I think they should be taking Nelson Adoda up there, or put Lauren Mansfield in screening action with Christy Wallace on her, knowing that she's in foul trouble. She's got 4 on her name. Have to make a decision. Because Christy Wallace is huge in the context of the Boomers, the control of this game, the pace in which it's played. But big play for the Lightning and a big opportunity here for Nat Hurst and what she's going to draw up for her younger Adelaide Lightning.
41.4 remaining. What do we have in store as regulation comes to the close? Mansfield. Borlase. She's had some big moments down the stretch. Talbot again driving inside the keyway. Mansfield trapped in the corner. Whittle inside the paint, turnover. Melbourne, big stop. And now they can retake the lead with a basket.
I've heard 2 turnovers in their last 2 possessions. They haven't even had a look at the rim. The idea was right, the pass was too late. But a big defensive play here. They've got fouls to give. They've just got to be clean, force the overtime, or get that defensive rebound. But big play here. What do you got, Wally?
Shot clock's off. Christy Wallace driving on Talbot. Denied by Talbot. Mansfield's there, 2 seconds. Got to go. Ball ace. Throws it up off the window. And we're headed to OT. So close for Izzy Borlase.
Can we just please go back to that defensive play from Steph Talbot on Christy Wallace there? All money would have been backing Wally to find a great shot, but somehow the defender that is Steph Talbot got her hand to the ball. I'm so glad no referee bailed her out there and called a foul because she got it clean. And Liam, I'm tired, but I'm excited. We got overtime.
My goodness, that would have been something. This is extremely exciting, Jenny. OT here at the State Basketball Centre. Plenty to talk about for Chris Lucas and his team. Lightning so close to a victory. They led by 3. And then that bucket, of course, from Mia Murray ties it up. And here's some of her highlights now. What a game.
Oh, she's been superb. Melbourne Boomers were great in that fourth quarter, but somehow Adelaide Lightning just found it. And they found a way, and I thought Marina Whittle in that fourth quarter was sensational. She had some big buckets when it mattered. And then Kayla George and Mia Murray have just been sensational. Kayla's been sitting on those 9 assists, I think, since about the start of the fourth quarter. But apart from that, she's been finding the bottom of the net, 26 points. Izzy Borlase, she had that big 3 that put them up by 1. And then Steph Talbot doing Steph Talbot things. If she's not creating for a teammate, she's getting on the offensive guard, she's crashing the defensive boards, and then she's coming up with big plays defensive. But have a look at that crowd, Liam. How good is that to see on the WNBL? They're up on their feet, and why wouldn't you be with the contest that we have?
They are up and about. Here's the numbers on your screen. Melbourne shooting the lights out as we've become accustomed to. 5 minutes of action now to come in OT. Christy Wallace has 11 dimes. Kayla George has 9 of the Boomers' 23. And both teams have looked after the ball fairly effectively today. Adelaide 14 turnovers. Melbourne with 18 here.
Yeah, and 20 points off turnovers for Adelaide Lightning. So that could come back to bite the Melbourne Boomers where they don't want it to bite them. But the Adelaide Lightning, I hope that they know. Christy Wallace has 4. Kayla George has 4. Now, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, that you need to get the people that they're defending with the ball in their hands and attack the rim and force the hand of the referees to potentially get them their 5th foul.
Mansfield's baseline deflected out off the Boomers. And on the flip side, Munro, the only player in any semblance of foul trouble with 3. The Lightning with more or less a clean slate there. Borlase to inbound. 6 seconds. Drives on Murray. Puts it on her left. Whittle's fighting hard inside. And looks to go against the Lightning.
That was a nasty crossover from Izzy Borlase. Shame she couldn't finish that one and reward herself, but a huge board from Nelson Adoda.
Wallace will start the possession for Melbourne. George gets free from the 45. Murray, last touch Melbourne. .32 points, 11 of 16 for Mia Murray. Mansfield looking to apply the pressure on Wallace. Whittle to inbounds. She's got 14 off the bench. To my eye, 10 of which came in the fourth quarter. Mansfield goes around the Talbot pick. Borlase cutting hard. Here's Whittle. Talbot has Whittle on the low block. Got a mismatch on Wallace. Kicks it out. 3 ball. Chelsea Brook. Count it.
Well, that's something in the scout for Chelsea Brook. She can nail the 3. Huge shot for her. She's been pretty quiet for the night. That's just a 5th point. 2 of 6 she is, but in the context, that's a big shot.
Wallace. Adelaide drawing first blood here in this overtime period. From the top of the paint, a little short. Nelson Adoda's there to clean it up. She's got 16. Just the 6th offensive rebound of the game for Melbourne. Denying the handoff is Murray. Nearly a turnover. Talbot has a screen from Brook. She's doubled. Got to pass it out. Whittle, space to fire. And Melbourne get out of jail. Releasing Goodchild as George. 1 point ball game. Backs it out to Wallace. Nielsen-Adota. Another good game from her. Nice pass down low. Murray, extra pass. George for three.
Put that one on repeat. Beautiful ball movement, inside, outside, great penetration. Kick, whack, if you don't mind.
State Basketball Centre erupted on that triple. 29 for George. Borlase probing, assessing. Nearly a turnover. Mansfield's there. Tried to get around Wallace. Good contest.
I like the intent on that, but I want to attack the rim on her. She's got 4 fouls. Do exactly what she did just there. That is her 5th foul of the game. See you later, Christy Wallace. But Laura Mansfield has to be a lot more assertive on the offensive end. I know she's the point guard, and she's a great point guard, and she's trying to direct traffic on the offensive end, but she's got to be a little bit more assertive. I want her to attack the rim a little bit more. She's got great ball skills and has the ability to do it, and she's very crafty at finishing, but she's taken 2 big charges tonight against Christy Wallace, and that one probably knocked the wind out of her sails a little bit. I'm talking so fast, Liam, because this game has got me very excited.
That's brilliant.
But huge 2 minutes. Huge 2 minutes without Christy Wallace leading the ship and as the point guard. Amelia Goodchild's going to have to step up. Murray will also step up a little bit.
So Mansfield, can she attack on this possession? She's got 17 and 6 dimes. Brewster's checked in for Melbourne. Borlase. Now Mansfield trying to thread the needle. Nielsen-Adota. And the foul call to boot, I believe, on Borlase. Melbourne all of a sudden with a little bit of ascendancy.
And that's just frustrating because a lot of their plays down this stretch have been either turnovers or the execution's okay, but they're not getting the ball in the hands to the right people. Steph Talbot had a nice baseline cut there, but it wasn't a presence to post up. It was just a cut. And then Marina Whittle gets the balls in her hands, but has a nice little backcourt pass that just went errant. Again, Lauren Mansfield, get the ball in your hand, run some pick and roll action with Chelsea Brooks. She's a great shooter. She can pick and pop, stretch the D a little bit. Get some variety in your offense.
Goodchild. Now George. Brewster. 3 ball. Would have been a triple-double for Kayla George. Borlase the other way for Adelaide. Brooke provides the screen for Talbot. Driving in the lane. Good defense. No foul call. Going against Nielsen-Adota. She can't believe it.
Love to see that one on the replay because from where I sat on my 75-inch screen, it looked pretty clean to me.
Would have been her first denial of the ball game for Nielsen-Adota. Had a good game this evening, 16-7.
Well, she's been overshadowed by some other really good numbers from obviously Murray and George, but yeah, 16 points above her season average. Close to a double-double with the 7 rebounds. Huge miss there by Steph Talbot. 5 of 6, or now 5 of 7 on the night. Big free throw here.
Steph Talbot cuts it to 1. 90 seconds remaining in the overtime period. Goodchild will run point guard with Wallace out of the ball game with 5. Nielsen-Adota assessing her options. George retrieves it back from Brewster. 5 seconds. Got space on Whittle. Goodchild is there. Call from the referee. Looks to be lightning ball. In fact, it might stay with Melbourne.
That's a tough call. I think it was a rebounding contest. It might have been on Chelsea Brooke, but in the context of the game, that now sends the Lightning into bonus, which means the Melbourne Boomers get two easy looks from the foul line. As you can see the frustration on Maddie Hurst as she's talking to the referees there.
Nielsen-Adota at the line. This to make it a 3-point ball game. A crucial buffer. With a minute to go, missing, tapped out, extra possession, Melbourne. Mila Goodchild with a fresh 14. George dumps it off to Nelson Adota. Inside the painted area, nice move.
And that's just a mismatch advantage there from the longer Nelson Adota. Big play, took it on her own to make it count when it mattered. Big bucket, big timeout from the Lightning. They're down by 4, just under a minute to go. 3 possessions left in this ball game. They look a little bit deflated. They haven't had great looks on the offensive end in this overtime, but they're still within touch of getting this win.
It's tough now, 4-point ball game. Still plenty of time, 53 seconds. They've got to be good from here on out. Nat Hurst's team, what will they draw up here? Led by Steph Talbot's 22 today. Lauren Mansfield has 17. Well, they've got 5 players that average double figures, and once again, they've got 5 players in double figures here this evening.
Well, Nelson Adota is also on 4 fouls. You get her in some pick and roll action. I'd run a run-up screen with Lauren Mansfield with the ball in her hands, attacking the rim, getting some momentum. Rather than being so stagnant, you could run some flat action if you want, just go one-on-one. But they've got to get to the foul line here on this position. They've got to either get to the foul line or find the bottom of the net, and then to get a good defensive stop down the other end to allow themselves one last possession to either win or go into another overtime.
In the event it goes to a second overtime period, the war of attrition could become a factor. Wallace out with 5 personals. As you mentioned, George and Nelson Adota with 4. And there it is. So that last assist from George makes it a triple-double. What a ball game, setting up the Nelson Adota bucket moments ago. I believe the first of the season, Jenny.
It is, and then triple doubles are pretty hard to come by in this league. We don't give them out willy-nilly. Assists aren't like they are in the NBA and the WNBA. So to get that, considering she was 0 of 8 at the start of the game, huge 3 quarters and overtime play from Kayla George.
Whittle whips it to Talbot, retrieves it back. There's the shot clock buzzer. Adelaide didn't get a shot away. That is a huge miss.
And it's been a disappointing 5 minutes of overtime for Adelaide Lightning. They've had 3 turnovers. They've given up 3 offensive rebounds to the Melbourne Boomers, and they've had 1 look at the rim. So disappointing considering the game that they've had for the 40 minutes prior.
Chelsea Brook with the foul call. Whoever comes out here as the loser will be shattered, no doubt about it, given the ball game it's been.
Some of these girls are going to need a nice long ice bath or massage after this one. Wallace 37 minutes, Murray has played 42 minutes, Nelson Adota 35, pushing 36, and George 44 minutes.
She
has not come off.
Yes, unbelievable.
She earns the big bucks.
Mansfield for 3. They needed that, Adelaide.
If you don't mind. Finally, I think she heard me. And that's what we've been pleading for her to do ever since down the stretch of the 4th, knowing that Christy Wallace had her 4 fouls. She just went gun shy for a little bit. And Lauren has the capabilities to make big shots in big times of games. Huge, huge bucket. Back to a 3-point game. Timeout with the Boomers. 2 possession ball game still, Liam. It'll be interesting to see what the Boomers do on this one. But if the Lightning can play strong, solid D and get a stop and come up with that last possession, who knows what'll happen.
Nearly stole it at the death in regulation. Ball ace with a heave from near the halfway line. Nearly went in off the window. And now, if they can have a stop, Adelaide, they might have a shot to tie it. Melbourne can put it away. They've been short-handed tonight, the Boomers. No Tiff Mitchell, no Tess Madgen. Some of the bench unit not out there. Scanlon, Lou Brown not available. And Wallace out of the ball game. They've stepped up, undermanned Chris Lucas's team, who were 15 points down at one stage as well in the second quarter. And now they find themselves with the best position to win this one, to make it 7 in a row. So the Lightning will have Borlase and Whittle off the bench, along with Talbot, Brook and Mansfield. Pressing up, hoping for a steal. George entrusted with the inbounds, gets it into Murray. And foul call against the Lightning. They had to try it. So we're walking down the other end, Jenny.
Well, I'm not sure that was part of the plan. Yes, you want to be up, you want to play 40, you want to play full court, you want to be disruptive. But I'm not sure fouling was what they wanted. Yes, they get the ball back with possession with 26 seconds left on the clock, but it's going to have to be a quick hit because Kayla George is potentially going to knock these down. She's 3 of 3 already. Ooh.
Big miss. Just the third miss of the game for Melbourne. From the line. George splits a pair. So still crucial. Making it the 4-point margin. Mansfield loses all the defenders. Was happy to give up the 2. Melbourne, can they get it over?
There's a 3-second clock differential.
Foul call on the Lightning. Maybe you'll advise, Jenny?
Yes, no. I mean, the pressure's on Goodchild here to make the foul shots. It's a 2-point ball game. She's a shooter. But make no mistake about it, nothing prepares you for having to knock down big shots or foul shots, especially when the game is on the line, no matter how good a shooter you are.
Goodchild makes the first.
Nice to see the 22-year-old not even breaking a sweat. Doesn't look nervous taking these foul shots.
2 from 2. Back to 4 points the margin. Adelaide.
No timeouts left. You're going to have to get a quick shot off here.
Mansfield just missing. Whittle chasing it. Foul call on her. So Mia Murray, now in the safest of hands for the Boomers, will walk to the charity stripe for 2. This to bring her tally to 34.
An unfortunate foul in the backcourt there in the last passage of play, second last passage of play from the Adelaide Lightning. Forced the hand, sent the Boomers to the foul line, pushed the lead out to 4. And Mansfield did the best she could of getting a shot up, but too little, too late. Oh, what a game of basketball. I know Adelaide will be disappointed, but they should be proud. They should hold their heads high with the way they've played tonight.
Borlase straightaway triple for the Lightning, and that will do it. A gutsy win from the Boomers. They prevail by 6 points here on their home floor, to the ovation of their home fans here on your Thursday night hoops. The Adelaide Lightning, boy, they were valiant. They were terrific. And it might just be the game of the season, Jenny, so far.
Oh, absolutely is the game of the season. You couldn't have asked for anything better. There were so many. We don't have enough time to talk about the players and what they did. You know, George, Murray, Wallace, Nelson Adoda down the stretch. You know, Goodchild hitting those 2 foul shots when it mattered. And then Adelaide Lightning, Talbot. You know, I thought Whittle was great for her minutes. Mansfield was big down the stretch. I wish she'd just done it a couple of minutes earlier. Oh, my goodness. The winner tonight, Liam, is basketball. Is women's basketball, hands down, 100%. That was sensational. And I like that Talbot still has a smile on her face because they did everything they could. Yep, they'll look back at that last 5 minutes and be disappointed with some of the shot selections and the fouls that they gave up. But, wow, to push Melbourne Boomers, who are now on a 7-game winning streak, to overtime, huge from the Lightning.
What a ball game of WNBL basketball. Massive, massive win for the Boomers, who were short-handed today. Gutsy stuff from Adelaide. And Kayla George has a 30-point triple-double, played all 45 minutes. It's just something else. Mia Murray, 34 points in the ball game. Gee, I'm glad we don't have to pick a player of the match, Jenny, because that would be tough.
It would be. I mean, I think Kayla George's triple-double is probably going to overshadow Mia Murray's 34 points. But if it wasn't for Mia Murray, they wouldn't be in the position to win this game. And then Kayla George just took over down the stretch in the 4th and the overtime. All class. My MVP, thus far in the season. Still a long way to go, we know. But boy, oh boy, get the girl a drink, get her a massage voucher, get her whatever, fill her Santa stocking with as much as you can, because, George, I take my hat off to you. You were sublime tonight.
Luckily, these two teams do not have another game this round 7, so they'll get a rest for Christmas. We'll see them after the break, because if they did, they might be in some trouble.
Oh, they would be. I mean, Chris Lucas only played 7 players, but they've got some girls and some great players to come back. But Adelaide Lightning, hold your head up. Great game tonight. Natty Hurst, you did it exceptionally well. It just wasn't meant to be.
Big night of hoops tomorrow night as well. I mean, Bendigo Southside, that is going to be a ripper.
I am waiting for that one. Bendigo are on top of the ladder, as we know, being coached very well by Kennedy Kerryama, but they haven't been tested yet. They haven't been tested by a top 3 team like Southside Flyers on the Melbourne Boomers. Everyone tune in for that one, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
That'll be terrific. The Caps and the Flames as well. Capitals searching for their first victory. Feels like they're getting close, Jenny.
They are. They're getting there. They've had their chances. They were up against Perth Lynx the other night, and then just they ran away with it through the hands of Sammy Whitcomb. But shout out also to Kelsey Griffin, who is going to be playing her 200th game of WNBL, and she's another one we should be talking about in terms of the MVP as well. She's having another sensational season. How lucky are we to have these women in Australia, in our league, night in, night out, putting on the displays that they are, Liam.
Extremely lucky, no doubt about it. And there's a lot of MVP candidates really around the league. Tough to pick them at the moment. Cygnett WNBL is going great guns here. What a ball game we've witnessed. Melbourne Boomers 106.